This is our last lecture related to chapter number 6, geomorphic processes. Till now, we have covered all the forces behind the geomorphic processes, including exogenic and endogenic forces. And we discussed that there are three types of geomorphic processes, including weathering, mass wasting, erosion, and deposition. Weathering and mass wasting we already discussed. Today we will focus on the third geomorphic process, deposition. Deposition. There is a dominant work of weathering agent. We include 5 weathering agents. As I told you earlier that running water, glacier, wind, underground water, and ocean waves and currents, these are considered as the weathering agent which make the erosion and deposition work possible, right? So in what do we mean by erosion? Firstly, erosion involves acquisition and transportation of rock debris. Till now you have learned that the rocks are weathered, right? So when the rocks are weathered, there are some loose material over it, and erosion involves when these material are transported by the weathering agents. When massive rocks break into smaller fragments through weathering, and any additional geomorphic agents like running water, groundwater, glaciers, wind, and waves remove and transport it to other places, depending upon the dynamics of each of these agents. So, how much the material will be transported? It will depend upon the dynamic strength of these agents. If there is sufficient water in river, if the flow of the river is high, right? So the speed of the water is also high, so it will remove the more and more material and transport it in the more material at the low lying areas, right? Basically the removal of the material led to the de-elevation of the physical features. So abrasion by rock debris carried by these geomorphic agents also adds greatly in erosion. By erosion, relief degrades, that is the landscape is worn down, right? When we talked about that, the Aravalli hills are the residual hills, means in the primitive time, it was higher than the recent time, but by the work of weathering agents it eroded and it de-elevated, right? So the landscape is worn down. Some landscape is originate by the different activities occurring within the surface and over the surface, and by these weathering agents they are worn down. The erosion and transportation of earth materials is brought about by wind, running water, glaciers, waves, and groundwater. Correct? So, when the erosion took place, in the picture you can see there is a steep slope area from where the river is flowing, right? So from this, the glacier and the river is flowing from this path. What is happening by the wind, rain, and the different more geomorphic agents? What would happen? The weathered material over the top of the hill that will be slipped down or transported by the river, right? Here you can see the white color in river, and when the river is river reached at its lower course, what would happen? The speed of the water will be reduced. When the speed of the water will be reduced, what would happen? It will begin to it will begin to deposit this material. So the material is transported by the river, and in the low lying area it is deposited by the river water, because the strength of the river gets lower, right? So when the speed of the river became less, it began to deposit the material in the flat surface or the low lying areas. So when the material is transported from the top to the bottom, that is called is erosion. And when the material is settled down in the low lying area, that is called deposition, right? So deposition is a consequence of erosion. If there is any erosion will took place, then the erosion deposition will be held, because if the material is transported on, only then the weathering agent can deposit it, whether it is river, whether it is wind, glacier, what or whatever, right? So the erosional agents lose their velocity and hence energy on gentler slopes, and the materials carried by them start to settle themselves, right? So these are the basic two works that is done by the five weathering agents. First is erosion and second is deposition. Now in this picture, by this picture you can see that material which is converted into fine particles, that is deposited in the low lying area. That fine particle consists different kinds of minerals. Very fine particle makes the soil, right? So basically soil is the result of or the consequences of erosion and depositional work of river. So our next topic is soil formation, right? Soil formation, first of all, before considering the soil formation, you must know that the science, the study of soils, that is known as pedology, right? The science in which we study the soils, what type of soils, material factors behind the formation of soils, whatever we learned about the soils, type of soils, whatever, that is known as pedology. And the scientist who studies the soil, they are known as pedologists. Clear? So you must know the science of soil is pedology, and the scientist who studied the soil is known as pedologist. Now come to the soil formation. How does soil form? As I told you that the soil is a consequence of erosion and depositional work of river, right? Because the hills break down into fine particles, and later on they also converted into more and more fine particles by the work of abrasion. Then it converted into the soil by the depositional work of river and glacier. So soil is the collection natural bodies on the earth's surface containing living matter and sporting or capable or sporting plants. Basically, what is soil? No doubt soil is the important gift of nature by to man, right? So soil basically it is a collection of natural bodies because it consists minerals which it get from its rocks, by the rocks from which it is formed. And when the material is transported and deposited, some living organic material is also mixed in these matters, and it contains by the soil, right? No doubt our human civilization is largely dependent upon the soil. Most of the world's population still lives in the areas where rich fertile soil is found. Why? Because soils support us. Soil make the cultivation possible. It supports the plants, and due to the cultivation, this is the most important factor of our survival, right? So mostly human civilizations developed in the fertile soil areas, and these regions are known as the cradles of ancient human civilizations. Right? So soil is a dynamic material in which many chemical, biological, and physical activities go on constantly, because there is a weathering process included, there is a erosion process is also included, some biological plants and animals that remains also mixed within the soil. So these factors continuously going on, and that's why soil is a dynamic material. It undergoes changes. It is a result of decay. It is also a medium of growth, because the cultivation, the agriculture is only possible due to the presence of soil. It is changing and developing time. There is a flood in the plain areas, which is brought by the rivers, and rivers always brought new material and deposit low-lying areas. So it keeps on changing, it keeps on developing. Characteristics are changing from season to season also. Too cold, too hot, and dry areas, biological activity stops. Right? Because biological activities is majorly concerned with the microorganisms, and in the too hot areas, the microorganisms cannot survive. So in these areas, biological activity stops. Organic matter increases when leaves fall and decompose. In the forest covered areas where the vegetation cover is more dense, when there the organic matter is more in the soil. Now, what is the process of soil formation? Weathering is basic process of soil formation, because in the initial stage, uh, the rocks are break down in the weathering process. The weathered composed due to bacteria, lichens, and moss. Now, what would happen? This weathered material is transported by the weathering agent, and after then it is decomposed by the bacterias, right? Bacterias like lichens and mosses also. The dead end remains increases the humus of the soil, and minor grasses and ferns can grow, right? So when the humus is a organic matter which mixed with the soil with the dead remains of animals and plants. Bushes, trees also grow. Plant roots and bearing animals help the soil formation. Now in this um, by this picture you can see there is a weathering process. In this picture there is a weathering process, the rocks are weathered. Now when the rocks are weathered, it converted into the fragments and deposited in the low lying areas where some organic matters increases. The dead remains of plants and animals also mixes in this deposited material. And further, when the this material came into the contact of bacteria and microorganisms, they will convert it into the humus and increase the fertility of the soil, which led to the possibility of cultivation. Any type of cultivation, any type of bushes, trees, plants can be grown. Moreover, some growing animals also help in the soil formation, because when they do burrow, when they build burrow for their habitat in the soil, the lower layer of the soil comes up at the top. So this make the soil circle, right? So that is also important. Now, what are the soil forming factors? There are some factors which contribute to the soil formation and make it more fertile. The first one is, here you can see, the first one is parent material, second is climate, and third is topography, fourth is plants and animals, that is called biological activity, and the last one is time. So there are majorly 5 factors which contribute to the soil formation. And come to the first one, parent material. Parent material means the soil is formed by the rocks, right? So by which rock it is formed, that is called parent rock, right? So it is a passive control factor in soil formation, because initially the soil is formed by the parent rock. In the picture you can see there is a rock, right? It is a rock, and it was weathered. When got weathered, what would happen? The particles will slope down, right? So when these particles will be deposited at the bottom of the hill, that will convert it into the soil. So basically soil is formed by the rock, right? That is called parent rock. So because if it is formed by the rock, so obviously it will contain the characteristics of the rock, the minerals by which the rock is formed. That mineral will also be also found in the particular soil, right? So it can be any in situ and on site weathered rock debris. In situ on site means when the material is on their place, right? So debris means residual soils. And transported deposits. Soil formation depends upon the texture and structure, as well as the mineral and chemical composition of the rock, right? So by which material, if the soil if the rock is igneous rocks, it is contain iron content, and the soil is formed by the igneous rock, obviously it will contain the iron and magnesium content more, right? So texture is also depend upon the rock structure and its texture. Nature and rate of weathering, nature and rate of weathering and depth of weathering mantle are important consideration under parent material. How much the rock will be weathered, how much particles will be there, that will contain the some soils you have seen that they contain coarse material, while some have fine particles. It is totally depend upon the weathering process. So parent rock in initial stage, the parent material is the most important factor. Now come to the second, the topography. Topography is also a passive control factor, right? Soils will be thin on steep slopes and thick over flat upland areas, right? In this picture you can see here the mud stones, and due to the tectonic movement these convert into the clay, and after that the old river bed, at the river bed it is found in the sandy alluvium soil, right? So when we go to the flatland area, it will, the fine particles will be found. What is the reason behind it? When the river transported the material and reached its middle course, it has some strength. So it can carry the fine particles more. So basically, firstly, it deposit the coarse material. So at the foot of the hills, we found the coarse soil, and as we go to the flat land, the strength of the river water will be reduced, and it will deposit the even the fine particles also. So in the flat land area there will be a deposition of fine particles. So it is totally depend upon the slope. In the steep slope we will find the coarse particles, while in the gentle slopes Due to the erosion work is slow and the transportation work is higher, soil formation is very favorable with the thin, fine particles. The third factor is climate. Climate it is an active factor in soil formation because uh, it always influence the soil texture and its structure, right? So soil always came into the context of the climate. Climatic elements include moisture in terms of its intensity, frequency, and duration of precipitation, evaporation, and humidity. Right? Some soils are very dry, like in the deserted areas, the soil particles are loose because they do not contain any moisture due to the less precipitation. While in the high rainfall areas, the clay soil is found, it contains more moisture. Right, so moisture is contained by the precipitation. The second is temperature. Temperature in terms of seasonal and diurnal variations, because the seasonal according to the season the temperature differences are there. Day and night temperature are there are differences in the day and night temperature also. So precipitation increase the biological activity. You might have seen in the rainy season the bacteria's activities increases, right? There is a fungus, there is a moisture in the, if there is any moisture in your food items, there will be fungus because bacteria's activity goes higher, right? So similarly, in the more precipitation areas, biological activity is higher. Plants will be found there, forests will be found there. Due to the forest presentation, there will be more and more animals, their dead remains will be higher, moreover bacterial activity will be higher. Then excess of water helps to transport the dissolved particles to downward. Deposition of these particles is called eluviation, right? So when the precipitation increase the biological activity, excess of water that will help to transport the dissolved particles, right? So there are some materials, some minerals which can be dissolved in the water, and by the water it is also transported downward, and this deposition of these particles is called elevation. Heavy rainfall removes the calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium along with silica. Removal of silica is called desilication, right? So in the high rainfall areas, with the flow of water, some minerals flow down by the water, that is calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium, right? So removal of silica is called desilication. Remember it. In dry areas, excess of evaporation leads to the deposition of salt on the surface of the soil. In heavy rainfall area, different salts are removed, but in dry areas, due to the high temperature, the evaporation process will be higher and water will be evaporated from the soil and only salt will be present here. So in the deserted area, the salty soil, right? More salt will be contained in the soil, which is also not suitable for the plantation. These salt layers are called hard pans in the hot deserts. In tropical climates, under moderate rainfall conditions, calcium carbonate nodules are formed. Now, the activity and add organic matter to the soil and also helps in moisture retention because it contains some moisture in the soil. Dead plants add humus to the soil. In humid areas, the biological activity is higher than the colder areas. As a result, the under decomposed material is found in cold areas. As we discussed that in the too host and two host areas that restrict the biological activity because bacteria could not survive in this temperature, low temperature and high temperature areas. So can add humus to the soil, but it is found more mainly in the moderate climatic areas. In hot areas, bacteria fix the nitrogen in the soil because bacteria are activate. The second thing, no doubt, bacteria convert the dead remains of plants and animals in the organic matter that is called humus. And the second important of the bacteria is that it fixes nitrogen in the soil. Nitrogen could not be taken as in the as its gaseous form. It can be gained by the fixation, and this fixation process is possible due to the presence of bacteria, right? And when nitrogen is fixed first in the soil, then the plants can use it, and it helps to make them their food. So, and which in hot areas bacteria fix the nitrogen in the soil, which is used by the plants. Rhizobium is the bacteria fix the nitrogen in the soil, right? So rhizobium, that is the name of the bacteria which do the fixation process of nitrogen in the soil, and it lives in the root of ligaments, plant cells, and termites, rodents, earthworms change the chemical composition of the soil. So it can be found in the ligaments, plant cells, means where pulses or all that, right? So we always talked that there should be a pulse crop there between the two major crops, right? So moreover, some animals like termites, rodents, earthworms, they keeps the change of the chemical composition of the soil. Moreover, some animals like rat, snake, they make holes in the soil. By making the holes, they keep the changing they keep on the changing the soil. The below soil will come out at the top, and the top will go down. That's make the minerals rotation, soil rotation, right? Last important controlling factor of soil formation, longer the time, thicker the soil layers, right? Because soil formation is a very slow process. A few centimeter thickness of soil takes thousands of years to form, right? So how much time the soil will take, the layer will be thick. No specific length of time in absolute terms can be fixed for soils to develop and mature. By the passage of time, their soil is undergo with the drastic changes, and there are three stages of the development of the soil. These three changes are known as: first is the youth stage of the soil, second is the mature stage of the soil, and third is old stage. What is the youth stage? Youth stage is that stage when the soil is initially formed by the parent rock. So in this stage, the rock contains only parent material, only minerals are there, so soil profile is poorly developed. In the mature stage, there are some organic matters also. So with the development, with the passage of time, there is a development in the soil profile, and it also influenced by the climate and temperature, and go with the changes in the chemical composition. Moreover, some organic matter is also included in the soil, and the soil get its mature stage. And the third, the last stage of the soil profile is the old stage, when the soil is fully developed. Yani, it means it has well developed soil profile, right? So in this stage, the humus is properly mixed with the soil, and its color changes, and it is now it is fertile and suitable for the cultivation. The importance of parent material is almost over, right? And the soil attains its old stage, right? So the time is also an important factor, and the material the soil contain, it will totally depend on time. As the passage of time increases, and the soil contains the organic matters, and which make the soil fertile. So these are the important factors of soil formation. Now we have completed our chapter number 6, geomorphic process. If you have any doubt regarding this lecture, you can ask now.